on the show, Bubba Carpenter's in studio. We talk about Arkansas' series at LSU, the week ahead with Tennessee coming to Baum-Walker Stadium on Thursday night, where the Razorbacks are in the SEC standings, top 8 national seed, much, much more. But first, a word from Kendall King.
At Kendall King, we're proud of over 4 decades of design. We're continuing the legacy of great creative design by combining our brands of Kendall King, Soapbox, and Shopcart. Together, these brands represent a new focus in marketing design, with individual attention to specific areas. Through our design expertise supported by a team of talented professionals, we showcase our best. We are Kendall King, we are Soapbox, we are Shopcart, we are design.
I think if you look at this series against LSU this weekend, the series came down to a handful of plays after 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. I mean, you've got LSU, they get out of a bases-loaded situation with Arkansas in the top of the 10th inning. Jared Jones gets a single, gets to second on a wild pitch. They manufacture a run, and they win in the bottom of the 10th at 1:17 in the morning. I'm not surprised that you were up watching the game. I was a little bit surprised, though, Bubba, that you texted me after the game. I sit there at 1:40 and my phone blows up, and it's Bubba wanting to talk about the game. But, there's no great situation playing that game on Friday night because you don't want to play a doubleheader, especially not where everybody has to play on Thursday the following week. So if they play a doubleheader, both of them have their aces going on 5 days rest on Thursday of this week. But at the same time, I think back to that Keith Gutton quote after the regional game here in Fayetteville in 2017 when he's got his arms folded and he's real mad. He goes, "I don't think games should be decided at 3 o'clock in the morning." I mean, I think you can kind of say the same thing about 1 o'clock in the morning. It's a series to me that LSU outplayed Arkansas thoroughly in Game 2. I thought Arkansas outplayed LSU pretty thoroughly in Game 3 yesterday, and this is how it goes. There's usually a toss-up game, and it's just unfortunate that toss-up game was played deep into the morning when the players may not be playing at their best.
Yeah, and I thought it was a great game. It was just tense. There were so many tense moments in that game from the first inning on. You know, I got a text from a couple people, and they were like, "Wow, this feels like postseason."
That's what Jay Johnson said yesterday. He was talking about Game 1. He said that felt like a game in Omaha.
Yeah, it really did. It was crazy from the first moment on. And I'm a pretty relaxed, guy when I watch a game. I get fired up every once in a while, but man, it felt like every pitch you're like hanging on every pitch. And it was just a different feel. And look, I would have rather played it at 9:55 Friday than play a doubleheader on Saturday. I mean, I really would. And I think if you ask the players and the coaches, I think they all agree. I mean, look, these guys don't get tired. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm just when I was that age, I was just getting going.
Did you doze off any during the game?
No, hell no. There's no way. I was wide awake.
I was awake during the game. I was dozing off, though, as I was trying to get a game story written. I don't know how many times I had to go, okay, here I am. Let's keep going.
No,
it's tough.
I don't know how you sleep during a game like that. I ran out to I don't remember what I did. I ran out of the room for a second, came back in, and Dalton was in there. Dalton was asleep on the couch. Of course, it's Friday, and he's had a long week of school and football and everything. He was wore out, but yeah, I was wide awake.
My son was watching it with me, and he crashed at 11:35. He's like, "I'm staying up for this whole thing."
No,
no, you're not. you're gonna fall asleep at some point in this game. RPI. The way RPI works is that if you get a win and you're at home, it's like worth 0.7 points. But if you're on the road, it's 1.3 points. And I think that tells you how tough it is to win on the road and how much probably the selection committee values road wins. And so, I mean, if you look at it that way, LSU got 1.4 points for this series. Arkansas got 1.3. It kind of comes out as a wash. I know LSU won the series, but I think that probably going into this, especially with their home record, that's probably what people expected to happen in the first place.
Yeah, I hate the way Friday played out, and but that's life. I mean, you take that situation. Jimenez coming in the 7th. We're up 2 runs. I'll take that every day of the week.
He had only walked 2 batters in SEC play the entire year, and he walked back-to-back in the 7th inning. You don't expect that at all.
No, you don't. And I try to. I tell you all the time. I try to stay off social media after a loss, and boy, I tell you what, some of the stuff that gets posted is just crazy to me. But Jimenez is the guy right there. Like I said, I'll take that situation every day of the week. He didn't have it. It happens sometimes. I don't know if it was the crowd on him or just just one of those things. You didn't have it. He did not look comfortable. I think it's the first time I've looked at Jimenez on the mound. Because you can tell a lot about body language, facial expression, all that. It's the first time I've seen him not look comfortable on the mound, and he just didn't have it. But
do you know why?
Why?
He was sleepy. It was 12:30 in the morning, man.
Maybe that's it.
He must be pitching at 12:30 in the morning.
But I'll tell you who looked good was Gackle.
Yeah.
And Gackle came in and had fire in his eyes, and that was the old Gackle. He was throwing the crap out of the ball. I thought he looked really good.
Hindsight, I think the Van Horn and Hobbs wish they probably would have gone to Gackle in that situation after Root came out of the game.
But think about it. If you go to Gackle and he doesn't do well, then they're like, why didn't we bring in Jimenez? Has been our best guy all year. That's been his job all year.
That's the way it goes.
To come in and
you just second guess yourself after a tight loss like that.
I mean, I'll say and look, I don't second guess Hobbs, DVH, any of those guys. I love Matt Hobbs. I think he's a genius. I love DVH. The thing is, and then once again, it's easy to go back and second guess. I wouldn't have pitched to Fry right there. Fry had great at bats all night. With runners in scoring position, he's their best hitter. I mean, he's got the highest average with runners in scoring position. I would have put him on first. Even if you don't, you could load the bases and pitch to the catcher and get a double play ball, or you can just put him on and trust that you're going to get a strikeout or a ground ball with the next. Whoever was up next. I don't know. I didn't want Fry to beat us right there. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, sweet. There's no way we're going to pitch to him. And then, Gackle's like, well, I got it. We're going to go right at him. Threw a first pitch slider that was up and then a fastball. The ball he hit was a ball away, and he just reached out and poked it out into center field. So, yeah.
I think in that situation, you work yourself or you work your way down the lineup into worse hitters. And like you said, they could have gotten to the catcher if they intentionally walked 2 with the bases loaded. Best case scenario, you get a double play. Worst case scenario, you might get a force out at home plate, and then you've got 2 outs, and you take the sac fly out of the equation.
Yeah, I think so. I'll take my chances every time with Gackle versus Hernandez right there with the bases loaded. I'll take my chance every time with that. You walk Fry, walk Pearson, and then you got Hernandez right there with the 1 out, bases loaded. Probably a strikeout, maybe a double play ball. Who knows? And I don't know. It's just and then you got Braswell coming up next. I like that matchup also with Gackle on the mound. I thought he was throwing the ball really, really well. And so, but you know what? They've got all the numbers. There's a reason they did it, and neither one of those guys operate on a whim, Hobbs or DVH. So there's a reason why they went after Fry right there. And maybe it was one of those where they were trying, just trying not to leave anything over the plate, which they didn't.
It was not a weakly hit, but I mean, it wasn't a real well hit ball to center field. I mean, Justin Thomas, he threw a good ball to home plate. It was just deep enough. I mean, if it's 3 feet shorter, I think that they might still be playing.
Yeah, I think so. And look, the ball Fry hit was off the plate. He reached out there and poked it, but that's the danger part about facing him. He's really good about putting the bat on the ball. Of course, his SEC numbers going in weren't that good. His overall numbers are pretty good, but his SEC numbers alone, he was hitting 260 something. SEC play, a couple of home runs. Really his numbers weren't that good, but he had a good weekend against us.
Very good weekend. A couple of multiple hit games, like you mentioned, double and a homer in game 1. 13-3 loss in game 2. I think every team is due a stinker at some point in the season. And it took 51 games for the Razorbacks to get to that point, but that was theirs.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. Give the starting pitcher Ianson, give him credit. I mean, he was really good. And you look at it and you're like, oh wait, 6 innings, he struck out 11 batters. why are we striking out so much? But then look at what he did to A&M the week before. He won a complete game. I think he struck out 14 the week before. It's a pretty good lineup. Of course, they didn't show it against Missouri. We can talk about that in a minute. But the guy's really good, and he gets a lot of strikeouts. So I don't read too much into that. Did we have some bad at-bats? Yeah, we really did have some bad at-bats. But I think part of that is due to his stuff. His stuff is really good. He's
one of the best pitchers in the league. I mean, he would be an All-America Game 1 starter for probably any other program except LSU. They've got Cade Anderson in Game 1, and he pitched really well too. And then I thought yesterday it was important for Arkansas to win the game, obviously, but to win the game playing well. You know what I mean? Like, you can win a game and the other team just doesn't show up. LSU was competitive in Game 3. I just thought Arkansas – they had some good at-bats, and I was really impressed. I mean, really impressed with the quality of the bullpen yesterday.
Wow, bullpen was great. But I go back and look at all the pitches they made Cade Anderson throw. I mean, 109 pitches in 5 2/3. I mean, they really did do a good job of battling him on Friday night. Shores, Zach Cohen, the guy they brought in at the end, 40 pitches in 3 innings. All the pitches they made these guys throw, even at the end of Saturday's game. I mean, they came back and scored 3 runs. They had to use 3 pitchers to get through that last inning. All of that led up to basically LSU running out of pitching on Sunday, to be honest with you. And our bullpen was deeper. I mean, it really was. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's a testament to the offense, the way they work the counts, even in Saturday's game where we're getting hammered, they still ran some pitch counts up.
And they were able to get well, I guess it didn't matter a whole lot. Arkansas on Saturday, one of the things about that game is I thought they managed it well in the bullpen that day. I mean, they go to some more of the backline pitchers, and they kept themselves in good position for who they had available left on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Colin came in. Colin looked all right. Or after Bybee, Colin came in, and then Tate came in, and Eves, Steele looked all right. I'm glad he struck out Jared Jones. And then I thought Hunter Dietz looked good. I thought he looked really good. Boy, on top of the ball, throwing downhill. An unfortunate play that ended the game. And you look at Ryder. Ryder did everything right on that. The guy's coming. He pump faked, ran at him, and then just kind of spiked the ball. Great play by Robinette on the other side to even knock the ball down and make a throw home. But I thought he did everything right except he made a bad throw.
So Arkansas wins 7-4 in Game 3. This is what Dave Van Horn had to say after yesterday's game about the win and about the weekend.
Yeah, just just another 4-hour game on a Sunday. It was a really good win for our team, obviously. After that tough game yesterday when nothing went right, we didn't play well, didn't pitch or field well. And then, the opening game, which we never really talked about, we had a 2-run lead, I think, going into the 7th and gave it up and then lost in extra innings. I mean, when you look back on it, should have won Game 1. Yesterday's game happened. Today's game was a real, kind of back and forth type game. We just pitched extremely well. Got out of a couple jams, got a couple big hits, put together that 4-run inning after being down 2, and then just pitched our way to the end. And there's a big score in the top of the 9th after they cut the lead to 1 there in the bottom of the 8th. This is a tough place to win and to hold on to games, and I was proud of the team for bouncing back.
Again, he mentioned it's a tough place to win. Alex Box Stadium, LSU's 30-5 at home this year. Yeah. That's tied with Arkansas for the most wins in the country at home. Arkansas's 30-3 at Baum going into this weekend series against Tennessee. I feel a lot this week like I did last week in terms of top 8 national seed talk, because last week a ton of the teams at the top, they got beat. Yeah. This week a ton of the teams at the top, they either got beat or they didn't win their series. Like North Carolina and NC State, they had a 1-1 series tie because they couldn't play their last game because of weather. Texas loses to Florida. Georgia loses to Alabama. Clemson, who's in the conversation, they lose a series to Duke. It just feels like nobody wants to take that number one overall national seed by the horns and run with it. I mean, and I've said this a few times now, whether it be Tennessee last year or Wake Forest a couple of years ago or Tennessee in 22, Arkansas in 21, by this point, there's usually a team that has separated itself from the pack. Yeah. And what is crazy this year is there's like 6 or 7 teams that are all just kind of jumbled up right there together. And it's like we're just waiting for one of them to say, oh, okay, I got this. It's like nobody will. And I don't think it's so much – I don't mean that so much as a knock on any of those teams. I just think the balance that you're seeing this year in the SEC and the ACC is unlike anything maybe that we've ever seen. It's unbelievable how volatile it is from week to week in these two conferences, which are the two conferences that run the sport.
Well, I think DVH called that at the first of the year. He talked about there's a whole bunch of teams right there that were going to battle it out, and I think he nailed it. But the thing that gets me, Matt, is it's so – we always talk about the importance of one pitch, one play. You look at yesterday's game. I want to say it was the third inning, bases loaded, Dylan Carter's in there, gets a ground ball double play. The game could have turned right there. If that ball's hit up the middle or in a gap, totally different game. We might have lost that, but he made a really good pitch, threw a fastball away. I don't remember who the hitter was.
Stephen Milam.
Was it? Okay, yeah,
Milam. He hit in the double play.
Got a 6-4-3 double play. Big pitch right there by Dylan. 2-2 count. And it was I think it was fastball away. But anyway, I mean, you look at it. If that pitch, if he doesn't make a good pitch right there, and the guy hits a double, 2-run score, 3-run score, whatever, that we're talking about possibly a sweep. And it's just, I don't know. I just think the margin for error. And by the way, I called the Florida thing at Texas. I said Florida was going to go in there and win at least 2 out of 3 there, but there's just everything's so close, and one good pitch, one good swing can change a whole weekend.
Florida's playing better than any team in the SEC right now. They've won 5 series in a row. Looking at Arkansas's resume, though, I mean, this is still a really good resume. I don't think the results of this weekend change anything about Arkansas being in the top 8. They're 41 wins. That's tied for the most in the country. There's 3 other teams with 41 wins, and none of them are from power conferences. The other teams are Coastal Carolina, who's probably going to get a regional, Western Kentucky, who's not going to get a regional, and Northeastern. Yeah. And obviously they're not going to get a regional. So most wins in the country. They got 12 wins against Quad 1 teams. Their RPI is 5. Their strength of schedule is 19. I mean, these are numbers that are going to get you a top 8 seed most years, so long as it doesn't tank next week or this week, and I don't think that'll happen against Tennessee. And probably the biggest number, they got 18 SEC wins.
Yeah,
18 SEC wins, and I think the SEC might end up with 5 top 8 seeds. I mean, Auburn, they're clearly in the picture now. We've been talking about them for weeks that they're coming up, and they're in the picture. Georgia's in the picture. Texas, LSU, obviously. There's only 3 of those teams that can get to 20 wins, and 20 has always been kind of like that magic number that if you get to 20 SEC wins, you're a top 8 seed. I think there are going to be teams, maybe 3 or 4 of them this year, who they're going to get a national seed, a top 8 national seed, with 18, 19 SEC wins.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so you look at – here's one thing that gets me is the schedule. I wish there was a way to make it more even because the schedule is so important. I mean, look where LSU goes this weekend. I mean, they go to South Carolina, and I'm sorry, they're going to go in there and sweep that.
Yeah.
And by the way, I knew those guys were good, Cade Anderson and Ianson. They're really good. Talk about it. You and I talked about it last week, how good they were. I was just looking at their numbers. I'd seen Ianson throw, but I hadn't seen Cade Anderson. Those 2 dudes are really good.
There's talk that Cade Anderson's going to be maybe the first left-handed pitcher taken in the draft this year.
Did they say what happened with his wrist?
Cramped.
Is that all it was?
Yeah, Jay Johnson, he said after he talked yesterday. Gosh, I can't even remember all my days anymore. Anyway, but his day after routine was fine. He said it was kind of a weird place. He was experiencing some cramps.
Yeah, I was hoping that it wasn't something that was coming from the elbow, the UCL down to the hand, and he was feeling tingling or numbness or something. But I'm glad he's okay there. But those 2 guys are really good.
The best 1-2 starting pitchers in the country.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Well, then they look at Florida. I mean, Florida's got crazy arms. I mean, to think how were they 1-11? I mean, and they've won 5 series in a row right now. And I don't know. I just think I like where we're at. I think the scheduling, though, to the whole point of what I was going to say is the scheduling part of it. And it says I guess one thing I don't understand, strength of schedule right now, we're at 18th strength of schedule.
Down to 19 now, but it fluctuates.
So how do they figure that? Do we have time to get into that, or you may not even want to? You may not want to.
Playing Missouri hurt. Playing South Carolina hurt.
So there's
they're
17.
that bad.
There's 18 teams that have a tougher schedule than us. Is that what they're saying?
I mean, that's subjective, but I think basically what it goes. I think what it probably goes off of is like, what is your the cumulative record of your opponents? There's some sort of formula that's baked into all that. You know, like what's their collective RPI? What's their strength of schedule?
They need to reformulate that.
Arkansas did not have Arkansas did not have a great non-conference schedule this year.
True. That probably hurt us.
Yeah. No, I mean, it did. I mean, like, I don't think Washington State has been quite what people thought they were going to be in the Mountain West this year. I haven't looked at Charlotte a lot lately. Portland, last time I saw, I think they were like 21-26, so they're not just setting their conference on fire either. TCU and Kansas State, they were good opponents, but you only play them one time. You don't play them in a 3-game series. If you play TCU 3 times or you play K-State 3 times, I think that changes the strength of schedule. But I do think that playing Missouri and South Carolina and playing both of those teams at home, I think that brings the strength of schedule down quite a bit, because those are two – if it weren't for Missouri, we'd be talking about South Carolina being one of the absolute worst teams that we've ever seen in the SEC this year.
Yeah, good point. Well, I guess I forget about the other games. I look at the SEC schedule. I'm like, wow, look at our schedule the last 5 weeks. It's just crazy.
I read something this morning that said SEC championships are not won; they're scheduled. Texas, obviously, benefiting from a welcome to the league schedule this year.
Whoever said that is a genius.
Texas,
it really is. It makes a huge difference. It's not just baseball; look at football. Same with football.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes a huge difference
when you've got
especially
these
when you're
mega conferences,
16 teams. Yeah,
there's no balance, none. That's why divisions, I think, are so important.
I agree.
Give me a division and a division. Take the winners, put them in Hoover, a best-of-3 series. Boom, there's your conference champion. Just like you do in football, or like how you used to do in football.
It's not that hard, is it? You think SEC is going to wake up and figure it out?
Looking at this, by the way, Arkansas the winning percentage of their opponents this year is 56.8%. So that's why they're 19th. The winning percentage of their non-conference opponents, and this is what I was saying earlier, 49%. So they just the non-conference teams just haven't been, on the whole, very good.
I guess I forget about all that. I go, when we get to this time of year, I don't look at overall stats. All I look at is SEC. That's it.
You just go by the gut.
Right? Yeah. But look, I'm not blind. I mean, I've got Razorback goggles on sometimes, but man, I just look at our schedule and I can't imagine. I mean, our schedule is tough.
Yeah, it is. I mean, in this 6-week grind that they're in, it has been a grind. There's just no letting up for air. You mentioned Dietz. He threw a pitch 98 miles an hour. Remember the talk a few weeks, it's been more than a few weeks ago, maybe 5-6 weeks ago. The reason why he was not back in the fold at that point was because his velocity just was not back up to where they thought it should be. It was more like, I think, 90, 92, somewhere in there. And they knew that there was a lot more in the tank. And so that was the number that really jumped out to me the other day. Not just the strikes and the 2 strikeouts and whatever else he did, but it was that, I mean, there was some real jump of the ball out of his hand.
Yeah, when he threw the pitch 98, I'm thinking, wow, this dude, let's go. But he even at that, though, he threw a couple good off-speed pitches. Fastball was, 96, 97, 95 all through. It was kind of varied throughout there, but yeah, when he hit 98, my eyes popped open.
How about Parker Coyle yesterday? 6 pitches, 6 strikes with the tying run at the plate.
Yeah. And how long has it been since he's been on the
49 days. It was 7 weeks ago yesterday was his last game outing.
When you talk about Parker Coyle, I asked Hobbs about him last year, and Hobbs loved him last year, and I just didn't see it. I didn't see what he was going to use to get hitters out, and man, was I wrong there. Nothing against him. I mean, I just look at his, like I say, I view it from the lens of the batter's box. I'm like, what's his pitch that's going to really get hitters out? And now you see it. I mean, he's got that ball he can throw in, the fastball or cutter that throws in on the righties. He's just tough.
He's like a late bloomer, kind of like Caden Monk. Remember Caden Monk? You
exactly.
watch him for a couple of years, well, what are we seeing? And then all of a sudden that last year, boom, you put it together. Jacob Kostichuk, another one I think that fits into that. I mean, some of these guys, you expect them to come in and be throwing 95 right away, and it's rare for freshmen to be able to come in and do that. And I think we forget that sometimes there is a development that has to happen with a lot of these pitchers who come in.
Yeah, and you see our guys getting better, and I think that's a testament to our staff. I mean, I joke around with Hobbs all the time. I'll tell Matt, I'll say, man, that's just good coaching. And of course, he denies it all. But, I mean, to develop the guys like that, you see our guys continue to get better. There's a reason why. It's because they've got a good support staff around them. They're constantly tweaking stuff. But, just to see Coyle come in, and, you got to love the strikes, first of all, but they're quality strikes. It's not like he's throwing it down the middle. I mean, he's throwing quality pitches.
Jay Johnson was ejected yesterday, but he was back with the reporters after the game, and he was very complimentary about Arkansas's bullpen. This is what he had to say.
Thought it set us up good, but they're one team, and there's not many out there that can do that and can find a way to piece it together. I mean, Parker Coyle that ended the game, it was him, right? Yeah. I mean, it's, I didn't have my usual view from the top step. That's a pretty good dude to roll out for the 13th guy that you've used on the weekend.
I mean, that's a great point. And he mentioned this on his post-game radio show with Chris Blair yesterday. He's like, how many teams in the country can pitch like that on a Sunday? Not very many. That video, by the way, is courtesy of TigerBait.com.
Yeah, it's a good point, and he's kind of growing on me a little bit. I didn't like him in the beginning because he's slow played, and they do play slow games. LSU does. There's a lot of mound visits. There's a lot of offensive meetings. I don't know. Like they had that one. I thought they were trying to ice Coyle yesterday towards the end of the game, having a little offensive meeting after they brought Coyle in. But I mean, he's doing a good job there. So I don't know. The first time he came into Fayetteville, and we played like a 4-hour game, and it was just
like meeting after. It was before they put in all these changes.
Yeah.
Where they limited the number of I guess mound visits and meetings you could have. I mean, it was like it was crazy.
Yeah.
To watch them slow play that series.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd last, but yeah, he's proven me wrong. He's done a good job there.
Well, I mean, coaches can grow. They can grow on the job, and I think he's grown on the job there at LSU. Arkansas now with Dietz and Coyle back in the equation, and Cole Gibbler was phenomenal yesterday out of the bullpen. All of a sudden, where you didn't have a whole lot of left-handed options, maybe you got some left-handed options out of the bullpen now.
Yeah, you got to feel really good about it, especially if you DVH and if you're looking down the bullpen now, he's got a lot more options to go with. But I was impressed with. Dietz looked good, but I really did. I thought Cole Gibbler looked really good. Fastball was good, 95, 90. I think he threw a couple 96. So you can't just sit on the slider with him, but no one has an answer for that slider yet. I'd like to know the whiff rate on his slider or the hard hit rate, or I don't think anyone's hit it yet. I mean, hitters don't see it. I don't know what it is about that pitch, but they just don't see it, and he's got 95 to follow up behind that.
This is what Dave Van Horn said yesterday about all of the left-handers and the performances that they had in Baton Rouge.
How big of a difference does that make it for the bullpen?
It makes it a lot better, that's for sure. And seeing Dietz out there yesterday was big for him, big for us, and just see how he competed in that situation, and just the way the ball was coming out of his hand, getting Coyle back, and then Gibbler was outstanding today. I mean, his fastball was 94, 95, maybe 96, and that's the best it's been all year. And then the breaking ball was nasty, upper 80s. They had trouble figuring out what it was.
All right, a lot more coming after a break. We'll talk about what happened in the SEC this weekend. Lots of interesting outcomes, to say the least. Look at the SEC standings. We'll talk about Vahiva Aloy's struggles in Baton Rouge and a lot more. But first, a word from Kendall King.
At Kendall King, we're proud of over 4 decades of design. We're continuing the legacy of great creative design by combining our brands of Kendall King, Soapbox, and Shopcart. Together, these brands represent a new focus in marketing design with individual attention to specific areas. Through our design expertise supported by a team of talented professionals, we showcase our best. We are Kendall King, we are Soapbox, we are Shopcart, we are design.
Hey, welcome back. I want to tell you about our friends at Bentonville Glass. They've been serving their community since 1971. They're committed, professional, versatile. If you're looking for a quality leader in Northwest Arkansas or looking for skilled craftsmanship, look no further than Bentonville Glass. For all your glass market needs with the highest quality products, you can come by and see them at 507 South Main in Bentonville or online at bentonvilleglass.com. Also want to tell you, you can get the latest breaking news on all Razorback sports at wholehogsports.com, most in-depth source for all Razorback sports. Analysis, latest in recruiting, unique stories on all your favorite teams. Today you can read about Arkansas softball, the number 4 national seed in the NCAA tournament. They get Oklahoma State coming over here, by the way. What a draw for them at Bogle Park this weekend. We're going to have a full softball show tomorrow to talk about that regional. You can subscribe today at wholehogsports.com. Looking around the SEC, we mentioned some of these outcomes earlier. Texas losing to Florida, Georgia losing to Alabama. Of course, the series that I think just took everybody by surprise was Missouri beating A&M. A&M had Missouri down by 3 runs in the 9th inning of Game 1. Mizzou puts up a 6 spot and wins. And it's like A&M never recovered.
Yeah.
They weren't competitive in Game 2. They weren't competitive yesterday. They lost 10-1 yesterday, and they were out hit 15-2. And I watched a lot of that game, and the body language from the A&M players was as bad as I think I've seen from any team this year. I mean, they went from assuming they were going to beat Missouri, win the series at minimum, probably sweep them like everybody else has, to now their RPI absolutely just tumbled this weekend. I mean, I think they lost like 25 spots in the RPI, and they're a couple of games above 500. They're 10-17 in the SEC. They've got the marquee wins. They've got the series over Arkansas. They got the series over LSU, series over Tennessee. If the other numbers were good, the other numbers are really bad, and I don't think they're making the NCAA tournament unless they, maybe go on the road to Athens and sweep this weekend and then do something big at the SEC tournament. This is as stunning a loss in a series as I think I can ever remember in the SEC, because just nobody saw it coming, and certainly nobody saw A&M getting swept off their home field like that.
Yeah. Who do you think put money on a sweep by Mizzou? Is there
somebody with a lot of money to play with?
You're right. That was shocking. But I want to apologize to Mizzou because I've been so hard on them. I said I do not see a win in that schedule. I would have bet everything they were going to go 0-30. For them to get it together like that, and just not let go of the rope and figure out a way to win a game and then go on and win 2 more that's a tough place to sweep at A&M. I mean, to win, it's a tough place to win. So hats off to Mizzou.
That was stunning. I was sitting there trying to think of what other series have pulled me in like this. There was a series, I feel like within the last 4 or 5 years, Missouri went to, I think, Starkville and won late in the season, maybe week 8, 9, maybe it was week 10, I don't remember. That's the only other one that I could come up with that was as surprising as this one, because I think at that time Mississippi State was they were in a running for some sort of championship and just choked it away.
Didn't they go to Knoxville several years ago and win when Tennessee was really good?
Missouri?
Yeah, I thought they did. Maybe they didn't.
If they did, I don't remember it.
Yeah, maybe I got my series mixed up. But yeah, that was crazy.
But I mean, none of those Missouri teams were 0-24 in the SEC.
But I mean, look at Georgia. Losing his series to Alabama. I mean, that was a surprise. I thought
that was a weird series too, because they played a doubleheader on Game 1 or on day 1, and Georgia just ran them off the field in Game 1, 19-3 or 4 or something. And then they started Game 2 trying to get it in before the weather got there, and then the weather arrives. They have to suspend it in the 6th inning. They can't play all day Saturday. Then they come back Sunday and they resume a game that had started 2 days earlier, and then they have to play a 7-inning game. And so that was a weird series.
Yeah, that makes it tough. That does. That makes it tough.
And Georgia was the road team.
Yeah, when you're the road team, I think it's harder when you're the road team there. That goes back to our Friday night starting that late. I mean, that's harder for the road team. I think it was good that DVH took them back to the hotel Friday night, so we didn't have to sit around the field and wait. But still, that was impressive that we came out and played. I thought we played good on Friday night. But yeah, crazy things happening. Now the Florida thing, I called that.
You did?
I am not sold on Texas. I think good pitching's going to shut them down. Now their pitching staff's good, but a good pitching staff's going to shut their offense down. And plus, they got some bad attitudes. Do you watch their games?
How do you feel about their catcher?
I don't like any of them, really, to be honest with you. They argue every pitch, every called third strike, every first strike. They're constantly looking at the umpire. There's no discipline there.
Speaking of no discipline, Vanderbilt beat Tennessee yesterday, and I'm watching this game because it was in a big rain delay, and Vanderbilt they win, and they're talking, and I'm like, this is not going to go well. Yeah. And sure enough, here comes Tennessee out of the dugout. They have to get separated, and with Tennessee, it just feels like this happens way more with them than it happens with any other team. And I was reading a comment on one of the social media posts that had the video posted, and it's like, why can't teams just be classy when they beat Tennessee? And it's like, well, if it happens against Auburn and it happens against LSU and it happens against Vanderbilt and it happens over and over, at some point you got to look in the mirror like, maybe I'm the issue. But that never happens.
Well, okay, so how often do you hear me say the team takes on the personality of the head coach? Like our teams take on DVH's personality. I think Tennessee takes on Vitella's personality.
It's a very edgy personality,
and
it has served them well a lot on the field.
Yeah. But Vitella is constantly
creates a reputation.
Vitella is constantly pushing the edge of what he can get away with the umpires. He's always talking. Now, it's hard not to like Vitella, and I think he's a good coach.
I got nothing but good things to say about Tony from his time here. When we worked with him here, he was phenomenal to work with.
But just think about it, though. He does push the limits of what he can get away with, and I think his teams do the same thing.
He's talked about this before. Remember at the SEC tournament the year that they were so good in 22, because they've been good more than that, but in 22 when they were like 57-9 or something. And he said, they asked him about the talking and all the stuff that they do. And he said when he got there, he felt like they had to have something that set them apart. And I was texting with somebody about it this morning, and they said, he could rein this in if he wanted to. He could put a stop to this if he wanted to. I feel like what's happened there is that it's he's created this monster.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gotten bigger than him. Like if they really wanted to say, okay, we're going to take a step back and we're going to quit with all of the yapping and all this stuff, like they'd have to have a total roster reset.
Yeah.
Because now it's just it's ingrained in the team. It's just who they are.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, you create that monster, and I think they like being the bad guys. They really do. But I guess that's why I wake up every morning and I'm thankful that we have Dave Van Horn here and the coaching staff that we have, because you saw what the Texas guy did over the weekend. I assume when he walked, Florida's beating them 8-1, 9-1.
I missed this. What did
you didn't see it?
No, I missed this.
Oh, go look at it. It's horrible. Dude gets up there and he draws a walk, and I don't know, 8-1, 9-1, whatever the score was.
Did he bat flip a walk?
It was every pitch. He's like shaking his head and running his mouth. Then he walks and he flips his bat and starts talking to the pitcher, and then turns around, says something to the catcher. Donay, when he gets to first base, starts talking to him, and it was unbelievable. I can't believe you didn't see that. I've watched it, and I've listened to Texas fans try to explain it away. Oh, he's passionate. He's got a lot of energy. He's young. I got 10-year-olds that know not to act like that. When you're getting beat and you draw a walk like that, shut your mouth, go to first base. I mean, you can have energy and passion and play the game hard without doing stupid stuff like that. But you got to watch that, and you'll die. It's horrible. You talk about the Juan Soto, the way he takes pitches. It was that times 10.
How about that? Ole Miss, by the way, they lose to Mississippi State. Mississippi State is 5-1 since they fired Crystal Monis.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's talent there.
I would say Mississippi State, who felt like they were on the outside looking in at the NCAA tournament 2 weeks ago, they've got a better chance now at getting in than I think A&M does.
Yeah, I think A&M's done. I don't know how they can overcome that.
That's why you look at the series at Georgia. I think it puts them back in the conversation. But I mean, their RPI is number 59 right now.
They're not going to win at Georgia.
I don't think they are either.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, I mean, it looked to me like they were just cooked.
Yeah, I think they're done. I think they just I don't know.
It's like they gave up in
Yeah,
that Missouri series, and that has and you know this as well as anybody, that has a residual effect down the line as they go into this next series.
It's a mental game, and once that's gone, you're done.
I'm not sure their head coach gets year 2. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, Bubba, they took a chance on him. He's young, early 30s. They take a chance on him, and I think they took a chance on him to salvage the roster.
I do too.
They knew that if they bring him in, you get Laviolette back, you get Grohovac back, you get Sorrell, and Kent, and all these players who were key to that run last year when they're literally – I mean, they're right on the doorstep of winning a national championship last year. And it has just totally and completely backfired on them. And me, when I see what happens against Missouri, they didn't look focused. They didn't look prepared. Looked like they just totally, just hey, we're going to show up and we're going to beat these guys.
Yeah.
And to me, that's coaching. And when you're, whatever they are, 27 and 25, that's coaching. With that type of roster, and you can't win more than that, I mean, that's bad stuff.
It's bad. And to go from, I don't know if there's ever been a team go from preseason number 1, which I don't put a lot of stock into the preseason polls, but preseason number 1 to not even making a tournament potentially, I've never seen that.
It's not quite at the level of Florida State football last fall, when like they're number 3 in the preseason and then they can't even be competitive with anybody. But I mean, it's got some parallels with that. It's amazing how things have gone down there at A&M, and they fancy themselves as a baseball school. You know what I mean? I mean, and that's not to say anything about football or anything there, but they think that they are an elite baseball program, or that they can be.
Right.
And certainly Sausenagel had them, in that conversation. And I think Rob Childress did for a long time. I don't know that Early is going to be able to survive this. I think that there's enough money there, and I think that there's enough maybe lack of emotional investment in this right now that it's going to be a total reset next year. They're losing most of these players. Maybe they go out and, it was bad timing that Sausenagel put him in last year.
Yeah.
Taking the Texas job end of June. There weren't a lot of great options I think that they could have gone to at that time. I think if they let him go now this year, they're going to be probably the team, them and Mississippi State. Like, those are the jobs that everybody's going to want this offseason.
Yeah, I think they did the right thing keeping Early, but yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to survive. And one thing they've got there is plenty of money, so they can go out and buy a coach and then buy a bunch of players. They'll be right back in the mix next year.
They've got their own currency machine in the basement of Kyle Field.
Yes, they do.
College Station. Going into the final weekend, Arkansas is 2 games back of Texas. Texas with 20 SEC wins, 20-7 overall record in the league. Arkansas 18-9. You got LSU at 17-10. LSU and Arkansas are the only 2 teams that can catch Texas. LSU can only catch them if Texas gets swept and if LSU sweeps at South Carolina. I don't know that Texas is going to get swept at Oklahoma, but I think that would be a pretty competitive series. And then if you're Arkansas, you want to win as many games as you can against Tennessee and, basically sweep Tennessee and hope that OU beats Texas 2-1. And if you do that, then you share the SEC championship. Maybe if you sweep and Texas gets swept, then you win it outright. SEC championship is going to be hard for Arkansas to win it, but they're still not totally out of it. Losing game 1 at LSU, in terms of the SEC title race, that was a huge blow.
It was huge. But how about this team bouncing back and winning? If you look at everything, you look at game 1, game 2, for them to come back and win game 3, Matt, was huge. But I think what's going to happen, I think Texas is going to go to OU and lose 2 out of 3. I think LSU is going to go to South Carolina and sweep them. So, we have to win here. I think I think we're going to do well against. I think we match up really well against Tennessee. I think we're in good shape. I really do. And plus, we're playing at Baum Walker. I think we'll take 2 out of 3 at the least, and possibly sweep.
Maybe put this a little bit easier. If Texas wins one game, Texas is guaranteed at least a share of the SEC title. If they win 2 games, they win outright. If they win one game, Arkansas's got to sweep Tennessee in order to catch them and tie for the conference championship.
I don't think a sweep. That's not out of the question. It's hard to get a sweep in the SEC, especially against a good team like Tennessee. But I can see a sweep. I can see us winning the series at least. And I really think Texas could easily lose 2 out of 3 at OU.
I could say OU got swept at Kentucky, so they're going to be. I mean, they got to come back. Guns a-blazing this weekend to help their case at getting a home regional. This is what Dave Van Horn had to say yesterday about the SEC race.
It was, the standings are what they are. I mean, we can only control what we do, and today's all we could do is win one game. And trying to catch Texas, trying to finish in the top 4, just trying to win SEC games on the road against a top 10 team. It helps your RPI. I'm sure that our strength of schedule moved up a lot this week as well. So, yeah, it was a really big game here.
I want to read you a few of these. I've probably got about 15,000 words in this document of things that I'm just constantly looking up. I'm like, how can I use this at some point in time? Some data about how SEC teams have done on the road this year. Overall, the road teams have won 40.3% of their SEC series. So basically 2 out of every 5. Texas, 3 of 4. We talked about who they have played on the road. They go to Oklahoma this weekend. Arkansas won 2 of 5, so that's 40% right there with the the league average. LSU 1 of 4, they're probably going to be 2 of 5, so right there with the league average. Georgia 2 of 5, Auburn 3 of 4. They've still got a road series to go. Tennessee 3 of 4. They've been pretty good on the road. They come to Fayetteville this weekend. Vanderbilt 2 of 4, Ole Miss 3 of 5, Alabama 1 of 4 series that they've won on the road, and I didn't go past that because those are the teams that are at the top of the SEC. I probably should have looked up Florida, but the point being that there's a lot of good teams there that just haven't won on the road a whole lot. Like Arkansas, it's weird how you might look at Arkansas. You could look at it 2 ways. You could look at it like, hey, they've only won 2 of 5 road series, or you could look at it, they're 8-7 in true road games against 5 teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament. I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting way to look at the data.
Well, okay, so we go back to the schedule. What if we would have played, instead of playing South Carolina and Missouri at home, what if we would have played them on the road? I think we sweep both of them on the road.
Probably.
So it's just scheduled. To me, you looking at this stinking schedule, and you're like, okay, it just kind of sucks who we had to play on the road this year. But, it's life in the SEC. Did you feel like yesterday was a must-win game?
For Arkansas?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say it was must-win. I think that what I said going into the series and certainly going into yesterday was that they need a win in Baton Rouge to still feel good about their top 8. Because, and I said this last week, I think if they were to go 3-3 over the final 2 weeks, they're a top 8 seed, and I think they're probably a top 8 seed if they go 2-4.
Yeah.
But you go if you get swept at LSU, then you leave it more in the hands of the selection committee. And I think that what they did by winning yesterday was like, okay, look, that's a good team. That's a team. Those may be the top 2 seeds in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. I doubt it, but they may be. I mean, what if they both get hot over the next couple of weeks and they're playing each other again in the championship game in Hoover? Wouldn't surprise me if they're the top 2 seeds.
Well, I'm not so worried about, like we talk about sweeping Tennessee at home to win the SEC title. I honestly, for the first time, I really don't care that much about the SEC title. Yeah, it'd be great if we sweep Tennessee. OU takes 2 out of 3 from Texas, and then LSU. I think LSU is going to sweep it at South Carolina, but I don't really care. I want to win 2 out of 3 against Tennessee, get to 20 wins. Then we're playing at home, and other than that, whatever happens.
It's about being a top 8.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
way more important because people put way more – if they go to the College World Series, people are going to be way more excited about that than if they win the SEC title or if they won a division title in a past year. those are the years people remember, it seems like, more than the conference championship seasons. And I think it's because there's a lot more people who just pay attention in the postseason, who don't pay attention to the week-to-week goings-on during the regular season. And so it's about being the top 8, putting yourself in a great 30-3 at home. And I know what's happened the last 2 years in the regionals, very fluky because they had that set up and they've got Hagen Smith on the mound. And I think that if they play that 10 times, maybe 8 times, they go to the super regionals.
Right.
But Hagen just had the 2 worst, outings of his life. It's about being a top 8 and giving yourself a chance. And I think that, that's really the key this weekend is, if they beat Tennessee once, it may do the trick. And certainly I think if they win twice, there's it's academic at that point.
Yeah. And like you said, let's say we win the SEC title. And then we don't go to Omaha. People are going to complain about it.
Another bad year for the Razorbacks.
Another bad year, even though we won the SEC title. So, I mean, I'd love it because I hate Texas. I don't want them to win it. I'd almost rather, LSU sneak in somehow and win it, but than Texas. But if we're not going to, but yeah, I care about getting to 20 wins. I want to win 2 out of 3. Anything after that's a bonus for me. And let's get ready for postseason.
Arkansas avoided a sweep. They've gone 23 consecutive SEC series now without a sweep. There's only one team that's gone longer. You know who it is?
LSU.
It's Tennessee. 24. Arkansas's last time they were swept was in 23 at Georgia. The week before that, Arkansas swept Tennessee here in Fayetteville. So that's the deal. Arkansas now 2 years without being swept. Certainly, you would think that they can avoid that this weekend against the Volunteers. And real quick before we get out of here, Vahiva Oloy, just 2 for 12 this weekend. He did have a couple of RBI, had an RBI ground out, had a sac fly in yesterday's game. Ton of strikeouts, so 8 strikeouts. And this is like the strikeouts haven't been an issue with him this year. I don't think there's a concern about him. I think it was just a bad weekend for him. But I was telling you earlier, the thing that jumped out to me was 14 plate appearances. 13 first pitch strikes to him. Now, some of those are foul balls where he fouls off a fastball, but he got behind 0-2 in the count in 7 of his 14 plate appearances, and that's just a recipe for not having a good weekend.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about a really good pitching staff. But I didn't see him have he took a couple of swings with 2 strikes, chased a few sliders, but I didn't see bad at bats. He just melded it bad in. I think a lot of it, Matt, is look, you look at our lineup and we're really good 1 through 9. I mean, we're good. It's tough to maneuver this lineup, but I think if you're playing the Razorbacks, you're going to circle Vahiva Oloy as the guy you don't want to beat you. So he's going to get everyone's best pitches, and I think that's all what it is. I'm not worried. I think he's going out this weekend to have a huge weekend at home.
Ben McDonald was calling the games this weekend, all 3 of them down there. He does a lot of Major League Baseball games, too, up in Baltimore where he played. He gave a really cool stat. He said in Major League Baseball this year, and this was as of a couple of days ago, that hitters, when they're ahead in the count, are batting .323 in Major League Baseball. When they're behind in the count, they're batting .191, so about 130-point difference. And then he said with 2 strikes, they're batting .168. And after he said that, I started watching all these at-bats with that in mind. And, I mean, sure enough, college baseball, it's a little bit different, but it was a lot of the same. It comes down to pitching. If you can get ahead in the count, you're probably going to win that battle a lot of times. If you get behind in the count, the hitter's probably going to win that battle a lot of times.
Yeah, I teach my younger guys all the time. I say, what's the best pitch in baseball? And they're all going to go fastball, curveball, change. They're going to say all this stuff. No, strike one. Strike one is the best pitch in baseball. It's trying to get ahead of that hitter, strike one. And then on the flip side, as a hitter, that pitcher's trying to get ahead. So for me, 0-0, you want to win 0-0 as a hitter. But as a pitcher, they're trying to get ahead. Big difference.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say 2-0. I thought you were going to look at that as a hitter. What's the best pitch in baseball? I feel like if a hitter 2-0, that's the pitch.
Yeah, but a lot of times pitchers are trying to get ahead, and they all have their pitches. They all have their go-to pitch. What are they going to try to get ahead of you with? Sometimes it's fastball. Sometimes they want to start you with a breaking ball. And a lot of times of course, you don't see it that much in SC. Everyone's got such good stuff, but a lot of guys flip that 0-0 breaking ball up there just to get ahead of you. If you want to get a fastball, hit that 0-0 breaking ball, crush that, and next at bat you'll get a fastball.
Do you know how many of my 15,000 words we did not get to today? A lot of it. Like, look at your rundown. We're like having to cross off a bunch of this stuff due to time. But we'll get to it on Thursday when Bubba's back in studio.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about the umpires, really. So
yeah, we can talk about that Thursday.
Yeah.
We can have a nice umpire conversation. Arkansas starts its series against Tennessee on Thursday. Bubba will be back in studio. Then tomorrow we're going to talk a lot of Razorbacks softball and their home regional coming up this weekend with Oklahoma State, the number 2 seed in town. Really, really tough draw for Arkansas against an Oklahoma State team that's been one of the best in the country over the last several years. Ethan Westerman will be here in studio to help me break that down. We appreciate you being with us. Hope we see you at our website, wholehogsports.com, or we see you tomorrow on our podcast. Have a great day, everybody.